How's it going? This is Blake from Pig Destroyer, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Crank that shit.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today is an honor and privilege to have Mr. Blake Harrison from Pig Destroyer on the show. We're going to be talking about their sixth full-length studio album entitled Head Cage. That's right, Head Cage. That's named after a grisly medieval torture device, as always. That's awesome because I like horror stuff, and I'm glad that they're keeping it like that. So, Blake, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. So, sixth studio album, 20-plus year career. That's got to say something for being around 20-plus years, because lots of bands, they don't last no more than 2 years at the most.
Right. Yeah. You know, we never set out to do this for the way it kind of has happened. You know, we kind of just played music for us, stuff we wanted to hear and wanted to play a couple shows here and there. But, you know, it kind of snowballed very slowly, like you said, after 21 years from there. So yeah, it's definitely a privilege, and we're very excited to still be doing this sort of thing. But yeah, man, 21 years is crazy. Old enough to drink.
Very true, very true. Would you say this is the band's heaviest album to date, possibly, or no?
You know, no, I don't want to say that. I kind of detest interviews where people are like, you know, tell us about your new records. Like, it's the fastest, most brutal thing that you've ever heard, and you know. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I wouldn't say it's our heaviest. It's heavy, you know. It's a Pig Destroyer record. I can say that, you know, and we hope that, you know, most people like it. Obviously, you don't want to do this all day and have no one like it. But at the end of the day, we kind of do this stuff for us. It's very flattering that we do get so much attention, and we're very grateful for that. But you know, we do it for us. So I don't know. It's a Pig Destroyer record. That's kind of, I guess, how I would describe it.
What's impressed you the most about making the album Head Cage? What sticks out for you the most about it, if anything, man?
Well, this one was a little different. You know, we on our last record, Book Burner, we parted ways with our drummer kind of in the middle of writing it. So we got Adam Jarvis from Misery Index and whatever 18 other bands he's in right now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, you know, Book Burner was kind of written before he was in the band. He kind of stepped in. And he killed it. I mean, he did a great job. But so we definitely wanted to write, and we also added a bass player. We added John. So we kind of wanted to write, you know, using those two as in the band as full band members. So that's like one of the first things that really sticks out. And you know, it took us a while to get there, but we got there.
I was interviewing John Jarvis, the drummer, and I got a kick out of him because he kept naming bands he was in. I was like, Is he going to stop? Is he like, how is he doing all this? I'm like, geez, man, how the fuck are you doing all this, dude? He's in Scour, plus he's in Pig Destroyer. He's in several other bands, and I'm going, holy shit, man. How do you?
Yeah, man.
It's
crazy.
That's good, though, that everybody wants him as a drummer because he's so fucking talented.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Adam's great. It was, I don't know that, you know, when we got rid of Brian, if we didn't find Adam, that we would be a band.
Yeah, Adam, not John. John's his cousin. John is his cousin. That's right. I got all screwed up.
Right. It's all good, man.
So how long did it take to make this album?
6 years.
Wow.
So, you know, we're not like a typical live band where we play all the time and come through your town. And we're definitely not a write, record, tour sort of band. So, you know, we've been working on it off and on. You know, Scott's in Agoraphobic Nosebleed. So he wanted to do some stuff with that before we started this. And we wanted to do some shows and support Book Burner, which we, you know, we're playing a lot more for us, which is, it's definitely a lot of fun. So, you know, we took some time. So I'd say we probably started the record about 3 years ago. And tracking it, I don't know, man, we started in like November or October or something like that last year. So it's almost a year since we started the physical act of doing it. And, you know, it comes out next week, so.
Do you like having that break, though? You know, that much time between the albums, or no? I mean,
well, you know, I kind of explain it this way, that, like, you know, Pig Destroyer time isn't real time. So for us, it doesn't seem like it's been 6 years. when I look at press photos and see how much older I've gotten, I definitely notice that. But we're constantly doing stuff. So whether we're writing or just getting ready for a show, like I said, we're not like a full-time band. So it always seems to us that we're doing stuff, whether it seems to other people we are or not. If I had my way, we'd be in the studio and touring the world, but, that's very impractical with what we have going on in our lives. So, it kind of is what it is, and it's kind of set up the way it always has been, and it works for us. I don't know that it would work for every band, and just like the way other bands do stuff wouldn't necessarily work for us,
Any songs off this new album that stand out more to you on it? Possibly. Are there any that stand out for you, maybe?
Well, definitely the last one, House of Snakes, is, I wouldn't say it's a departure, but it's a 7-minute long song. And aside from Tasha, which was just like an EP, kind of an experimental thing, and then some stuff on Massive Volume, it's by far the longest thing we've ever done. Definitely by far a full album track. And it constantly moves. I don't know that the riffs repeat. They'll play a couple times and then we don't come back to them. So that one's pretty cool. There's a song on it called The Last Song, which ironically is not the last song, which is cool. It's got more of a jazzy type of intro. This whole record in general is, that's one thing that, at the risk of sounding pretentious, which I don't want to do, is I don't think that any Pig Destroyer record sounds like any other one. It all sounds like us, but you can't say, yeah, that record's cool, but the one they did before that, which sounds exactly the same, is a better record,
Yeah, they're all different. Every Pig Destroyer record that I've heard are just totally different albums.
Right, and that's great. But that means we've achieved what we're going for.
For sure. This was recorded. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This was recorded by guitarist Scott Hull at Visceral Sound Studios, and it was mixed and mastered by Will Putney. He's worked with Exhumed, Every Time I Die, and Body Count. When you see Scott doing his thing as recording-wise, producer-wise, things like that, is he a different person when he does that? And plus, how was working with Will Putney on this when mixed and mastered?
I don't know that Scott's a different person. He's definitely a little more focused. But Scott's focused a lot. He's like I say this quite a bit when it comes up in interviews. He's one of, if not the busiest person I know. He mixes and masters records. He's got Pig Destroyer and Agoraphobic Nosebleed, and a wife and 2 kids, and on top of that, he has a pretty intense day job. So, I think he's, when I'm in the studio drinking beer and just being a loudmouth ass, he's a little more focused. But no, he's the same person. But, with Will, it was very easy to work with him. We handed him the tracks, and he started pre-mixing stuff, and then when it was time to finish it, he basically nailed it the first go-around. Some minor things here and there, like, hey, the background vocals might be too loud, or something like that, and that was it. It was very, very, very easy to work with him. And, we kind of wanted to not produce this one ourselves. Bookburner we took a lot of time with, and I think we might have had 6 or 7 mixes of that. You can get too close to a project, and we kind of, Scott definitely wanted to just be like, nope, you do this, and I'm done with my part,
Blake's there for inspiration.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I'm a pro AV guy. I'm an engineer. So I know my way around a little bit. So, I'm there to help out, and, takes are good or bad, or, hey, tweak this or tweak that. But, Scott mostly does a lot of that by himself.
You mentioned that everybody's in different bands and things like that, but how much growth musically have you seen this band and yourself go through from album to album with Pig Destroyer? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys involved in this?
I would like to say a ton, man. It's not just album to album, but you kind of mature as a person. I would hope so. I hope I am. But, your interest in different things and your take on things changes over time. I'm definitely not the same person I was when I was 16, and thank God for that. 'Cause I'd probably be in jail or something. But as musicians, we definitely strive to, on this record in particular, is do something that was a little bit different for us than 4 on the Floor grindcore, and a little more nuanced. Scott made a definite choice to try to write more hooks this time around. And, I don't know if that's growth, but, we like to challenge ourselves and not do the same thing. If we put out Proud in the Yard Part 2, some people would probably love that, and then other people would say, well, they already did that record. So, we try to keep it interesting and fresh to us.
So do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to help keep your mind fresh and open to to not let the music get stale, or or add something new, maybe?
Every time, man.
Every time.
Since my role is not quote unquote a traditional role in metal or rock music in general, I'll just say that it's very difficult to kind of land on what I do sometimes. So this time around, I demoed stuff with JR. We worked pretty intensively, and it still didn't necessarily hit Scott the right way, or the way that we intended it to. So there's still like a lot of stuff that didn't really quite make it on the record, and we kind of ran out of time, which always happens. If we would have waited another month, who knows when the record would have come out. So yeah, personally, it's an ongoing process with me. A bass player or a drummer or a guitar player kind of knows where they stand. Whereas with me, it's kind of the sky's the limit. And, being creative and trying things is great, but it doesn't always translate. So, just kind of do the best I can.
What can fans expect at a show from the Mighty Pig Destroyer who have not got to see you guys live as of yet?
Well, wow, that's a tough one. Well, we hope that we give it our all. One of my favorite things is playing live, feeding off the crowd and the crowd's energy. And when people are going nuts, it's definitely flattering. We play fast, heavy, aggressive music. So that's a thing, and you should expect, we just played Maryland Death Fest, and people were throwing trash cans. So you can expect some mayhem. And also a guy in a chicken suit got engaged on stage. So, there's a lot going on sometimes.
That's crazy. Hey, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. I can't believe she said yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Oh.
I mean, he was wearing a chicken suit.
That's true. A chicken suit, what the hell? Ah, man. We're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media. Do you like this to get music out quicker and plus social media to reach out to more fans for Pig Destroyer who have not got to hear of you guys possibly?
Absolutely. I'm a huge music fan and have been since I was like a teenager, early teen. And, there's something to be said about the nostalgia of your buddy or you or like someone's listening to your program that you hear something that you've never heard before and it turns you on to stuff. But now it's so much more accessible. It's so much easier to find new bands or different genres or whatever you want. I constantly say I can get on Bandcamp and fall down a grindcore hole where I just check out bands for hours. Mm-hmm. There's a band like from the UK called Gendo Ikari, which I'm like obsessed with lately, and I never would have heard of them if it hadn't been for that. I think they did 1 7-inch and it was limited to 300 copies. So, something like that. Now, there's also negatives to it, all the shit talking and trolling and stuff like that. That kind of gets old. But,
sure.
My whole take on everything is if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it and you don't have to buy it.
There you go. That's my motto right there as well. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Exactly, man. Well, you can vote with your wallet.
Yeah. I mean, dude. I cannot stress that enough, folks. If you don't like something, don't fucking listen to it. Don't watch it. Don't be around them. Just be gone. Be done with it. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's I call them keyboard warriors, Blake's what I call them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's cool. My band's not for everybody, and not every song or every record is for everybody. It's all good.
Yeah. In your own opinion, man, what does Pig Destroyer bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, if you guys are bringing anything?
Oh, man, this was tough, because I think anything I say will make me sound like I'm an ass. One of the things I've always kind of liked about Pig Destroyer was it was as far as, traditional grindcore goes, there's an artier element to our band. I feel anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a bunch of kids screaming about brain dead zombies or whatever. I've always liked that. Scott is a very interesting guitar player. Like, I always kind of describe him as like half ZZ Top because he's got like a little swing to him, and like half Slayer because it's very aggressive. So I'd like to say that's what, is different. But, I don't, it's kind of very hard to analyze yourself like that,
I'm into horror stuff. I'm a history buff as well. And seeing the cover art of this album is pretty brutal and it's pretty badass. I just want to give out the artist name here, Blake, who did this for you guys, because it's pretty awesome. He needs a shout out for that, man.
Yeah, Mark McCoy. So he was from this band called Charles Bronson, which was like a huge influence on us when we were younger. Just this really obnoxious kind of like punk power violence band. He's been doing art for a long time now, and he did the Full of Hell record cover. We really, really, really liked it. So we reached out to him, and there you go. That's how that happened.
I like it, man. I really dig the cover art of this album. It's pretty cool. So, folks, when you pick this album up, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Or when you go preview it, it's pretty badass. So, Blake, man, what made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, that's what I want to do?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one, too. I've kind of been thinking about that lately. Like, I kind of grew up in the middle of nowhere, Maryland. And, I'm not really into athletics or anything like that. They banned farm equipment from my high school parking lot when I was a kid, when I was in high school. And, I just kind of felt different than a lot of people that I was around. And, I heard some early punk and early metal. Probably my introduction to metal was Metallica, much like it was a lot of people that are my age. And, I just kind of got obsessed with music and the whole energy and the kind of balls behind it. And, there I kind of just, snowballed, much to my mother's chagrin, snowballed into more and more extreme stuff. I mean, I remember the first time hearing Napalm Death, and I think my jaw hit the fucking floor. I'm like, this is it. This is what I need to do. And, then it was, grindcore was much different, much like more of like the bastard child of the music industry. I mean, it's still not a very popular genre, but it was much more frowned upon back in the day, man. So, yeah, I would say that sort of thing, like, just kind of not being complacent with what everyone else was doing,
Do you think music's kind of hit a stale spot and not growing? Because, I mean, there's so much stuff out there that you have to weed through. But do you think it's kind of just like slowed down and hit that stale spot to where no band is actually, growing even more, I should say, if that makes sense?
No, I mean, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going on. I just think that, there's still things like labels and, basically a newer version of MTV where, it's not music television, but there's still outlets that only push certain things. Like there's a band called Sun Rot from New Jersey that I've been like really loving lately. And, it's different. It's sludge and it's mean and it's nasty, but it's got, hooks to it too. I do think that there are times where bands will be throwbacks, like kind of like, we want to sound like a traditional thrash band or a traditional, trad metal band, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool too. But no, I don't think music is getting stale. I just think it's kind of gets more and more exciting. And there's definitely some things that are just the same old. That's cool too,
Support wise, is there a country or a place that stands out more, or even surprises you that you guys get support from, possibly, that you could tell?
That's a tough one, man. We don't get out that much. So when we do, sometimes it's 5 or 6 years between the last time we were at that city or never before at that city. I've always said that Richmond, Virginia has been a blast. I mean, their shows and the kids there are always great. We just have great shows in Philly and New York and Baltimore. Those barely count because they're kind of regional for us. Chicago, LA, we play Australia and it was amazing, So I guess it just really depends. Nothing, I would say, just because I don't want to get anyone in trouble here, no city is better than another one.
Understandable. Folks, Pig Destroyer's 6th studio album is going to be released September the 7th. You want to get out and pick that up, pre-order it right now if you want to. You can do that as well. Trust me, I dig Pig Destroyer. I've liked it for a very long time. And if you like heavy stuff, this band's the band for you guys. So, Blake, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this new album, merchandise, tour dates, tickets? How can they do that?
Oh, man. We are working on a website. I always thought those were outdated as of recently, but I guess they're making a comeback. And there's always the Facebook page. I hate to pump that sort of thing. Social medias are a good way to get in touch with this because I check it quite a bit. That and, just, I don't know, the internet, man. You can find us. We're around.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Sure, man. How's it going? This is Blake from Pig Destroyer, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Crank that shit.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thanks so much, Blake.
Thanks a lot, man.